Hey, Heart listeners. I have a new series for you to listen to. It's called Expectant. I just listened to the first 2 episodes, and I'm hooked. Is the climate crisis a reason not to have kids? It's a beautiful new series that sits on the fence between imagination and reality, between becoming a parent during the climate crisis and staying child-free. You can listen to Expectant wherever you get your podcasts. Check it out. Hey, Heart listeners. I hope you're enjoying the show. We just have a quick request. We are conducting a survey to hear from you, our listeners. Just go to survey.prx.org/heart to take the survey today. Let us know what you think. We're so excited to hear from you. That's survey.prx.org/heart. survey.prx.org/heart. It means a lot to us. Happy listening.
From CBC Podcasts, Mermaid Palace, and Radiotopia, welcome to the Heart. I'm Caitlin Prest, and this is Dad, a love story about a dad and his daughter, my dad and me.
So we did it.
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't mind if you played some rough drafts for me as it's going on.
Oh, I won't.
Yeah.
That's part of the process.
Basically, though, I feel like, it's all truth. So, I have no problem. I have no problem with truth,
This is how I'm invented.
When somebody signs up to be in a story like this, what they're signing up to do is to become an outline that people can project their own experiences onto. And that's something that takes a lot of vulnerability and courage. So, thank you, Dad, for being a part of this. In typical Heart fashion, there's going to be some hard stuff in here. Please read the show notes for trigger warnings. And now we begin. We turn the clock back again to 1986, the year I was born. This time, a different frame, a different thread. We begin. The first memory I have of my dad is from when I was 1 year old. I'm being buckled into a baby seat on the back of a green racer bike. I'm afraid. This seat on the back of this terrifying contraption just does not seem safe. But as soon as we got rolling, it felt like we would never fall.
Watching you.
Our bike rides evolved to tricycle races in the parking lot of the apartment complex
Here's our meager dwelling.
that we lived in the basement of.
Nice house across the way.
Look
This
out,
makes you
Dad!
ill, no doubt. No doubt, it makes you ill.
Dad!
Look at me, Gates. Oh my gosh, what a horrible mug.
And then they evolved to you on that same green racing bike, and me when I finally learned how to ride a two-wheeler.
Pretty good with the two-wheeler there.
It was an orange lowrider.
It's not time.
Okay.
We would adventure out on the dirt roads in search of something beyond the cornfields. We found a grassy field full of Cessna airplanes that we called the airport. We found an abandoned house that you made me promise never to go inside of. It would only be a couple of years before the era when your rules became dares, when I would tiptoe into that dilapidated house, wondering if the floor would cave in, like you told me it would. Our bike rides marked the final moments of the father-daughter love story that began when I was born. The years when there was nothing painful to overcome. Neither of us had a chance to savor it before it was gone forever. There are no recordings from the year I turned 12 until the year I bought my first audio recorder, 10 years later. The way things were in the house until I left was nothing that any of us wanted to keep a record of. I went back on my promise to myself, the one I made about never looking back. I ended up going to university in Montreal instead of as far away as possible, which is what I had originally planned. I fell in love with a woman who hated the way that I spoke to you on the phone, judged how harsh I was to you, and because of her, I decided I would go back home for Christmases and maybe a summer or two between school semesters. I decided to love you anyway, to absorb the family party line. Everyone is fucked up in their own way. All families fight. People get angry. They throw tantrums. Forgive and forget. We just fought. You had a bad temper. You were childish, erratic, and unfair. You weren't evil. You weren't cruel. You weren't dangerous. It's summer, and I'm about to turn 20 years old. It's been an entire year of living away from you, and my freedom has softened me. I come home at the end of semester with a hope of starting again. We smoke weed together for the first time. We laugh and listen to music. I fall asleep, feeling warm. The sleep doesn't feel like it lasts that long because I'm being jolted awake. It's you. It's 5 a.m. You have woken me up to confess that you flushed the quarter ounce of weed that I figured out how to buy in the middle of nowhere where we live down the toilet. All of it. Down the toilet? Couldn't have waited until 8 a.m. to tell me this. If it's in the house, I won't be able to avoid smoking it, you say. It's the first moment of seeing you as weak. I'm kind of repelled by it. And as I drift back to sleep and you drive to junior jazz practice at the high school, I get lost in thought. My mind sets to work, building a new frame to look at you through, using my thoughts to twist the feeling in my body back into affection, the way that I always did, drifting off to sleep in this house. This time, regarding the minor infraction of you flushing my weed down the toilet, I tell myself not to think of you as my dad, but as a person I'm meeting for the first time. I tell myself that I'm going to forget everything I think I know about you and approach you with the total open-heartedness and lack of judgment that I approach meeting everyone else in the world. We're in the car on Highway 31 driving into town. You're in one of your rages, spit flying and tires screeching, speedometer peeking into the red and then choking on the seatbelt as it locks, and we swerve off the road, gravel shoulders just before we nosedive into the ditch. I am completely calm. I mean, my blood is pumping, my heart is racing, shreds of electricity and adrenaline are coursing through my body, but my secret weapon is being able to ignore all of that. You are thrashing and flailing behind the wheel. I don't engage. I'm proud of myself for not engaging. Are you done? I say. I mark this as the moment that I grow up. The moment I became the bigger person. As you cool down and we drive home, a part of me feels warm.
A part of me relaxes.
I can handle this. It doesn't bother me anymore.
These explosions.
I'm not at the mercy of it.
I can handle them now.
And this gives me hope for our future.
I feel invincible.
A couple weeks later, it's August, my 20th birthday.
I don't have any plans.
You make a grand gesture and decide we'll go as a family on a trip to New York. It'll be the second time I go to New York and cry and furiously type into my live journal for the duration of the trip about the unadulterated capitalism, waste, and wealth disparity I see there. On the highway behind the wheel, just before the car is about to break down, you look at me through the rearview mirror and you ask, "Do you think I was abusive to you?" I'm surprised by the use of this word, this scary word, this word that I've never really thought about in reference to my life, except for that time in social studies class when they said that inconsistency was a form of parental abuse. I've forgotten about that by now. I think for a little bit. I was never afraid that you would kill me. I think about the fact that your love was palpably constant, even in the midst of the terrifying car rides or screaming matches or arm twisting or broken glass. I never felt your love and your support was conditional. It just came amidst moments of viciousness and scary chase scenes. I never doubted that you loved me, I say. But now that I think about it, I guess, yeah, I do think it was abusive. This was a moment of recognition that paved the way for our adult relationship. It was a moment that I held on to. A therapist will tell me a decade later that you weren't asking in order to own up to the ways that you mistreated me. You were asking because you were hoping that I would say no. I tell her that she's wrong. 4 years after I moved to Montreal, I decide that I'm moving to New York. In spite of my live journal's declaration that it was my least favorite place in the universe, once again, chasing love brought me back to a place that I thought I never wished to return. In New York, I buy my first audio recorder.
Hi, Daddy. This is belated, long, nice answering machine message. Happy Father's Day. I love you. There are many reasons why. Number 1. Yesterday I was looking at old pictures and I saw the pictures of you in the dreaded red Star Trek shirt.
With a tip and a star.
Will you think a star dancing in the...
Our relationship became Christmases that I took the bus back home for.
F, I like the F better.
We like the F.
You know what F stands for?
Fancy. Friendly. Friendship. It's magic.
As big as a kite.
Hello?
Can you hear me this time?
The odd phone call that I actually accepted.
Wow, I love this. You answering my phone calls thing. It's great.
Long voice memos on Father's Day and birthdays.
This is what is now becoming the classic Caitlin audio recording. Number 2.
Happy Father's Day.
You're very passionate and it's very you're so excited.
And the times you would show up on my doorstep when I'd gotten myself into some kind of housing emergency.
Caitlin, this is boring video.
No, it's not. Number 4. I find it's really lovely to me how sensitive you are. I like the fact that you cry in movies and that you cry in general.
Fun as a kid.
Hi, Dad.
I don't know, and that you're touchy-feely and just sensitive.
Doing fun things with Dad. It was the best.
Number 5.
Happy birthday, dear Dad.
Oh, well, I think you're really good at playing guitar, even if you don't think that you're good.
6.
It's crazy to me, how important family is to you. I mean, I know that doesn't sound good
I told you this
coming
before,
from me,
but
your daughter.
I feel like I get all of my passion for life from you and
Number
my
7.
dedication and I'm disappointed.
I have got a lot of fun.
Number
watching
8.
sci-fi movies. I like playing games with you. Like,
I know that I get that from you.
categories is the funniest one because you make up the answers. Oh, okay, so number 10.
How much music we have in the house.
Or 9, I don't remember it now. You've always been so encouraging of me, and like, anyway, you know, I have to get on the subway now. But I love you very much, and I feel very lucky that you're my dad. Okay, bye.
I had a really great time growing up with you. Yeah. Even though we had our, like, bad teenager time, like, even then, I mean, in a way, I feel like that sort of prepared me to fight to the death in life, you know. Anyway, I love you a lot, and I'm glad that you're my dad. You're my favorite dad in the whole world.
I'm crashing at my ex-boyfriend's house, taking care of my future New York roommate's cat, Bear. When I need to cross the border in a car to avert suspicion that I'm moving there without a visa, who is there, packing my limited belongings into his trunk and preparing to quote-unquote drop me off 6 hours away? Dad. When Bear, the cat of my future roommate, runs away just before we're about to leave, who is wandering the streets in search? Dad. When the cat is found, after we've been driving for 2 hours already, who is looking me in the eye and saying that if we don't go back to get the cat, it could really mess up my relationship with my new roommate? Who is turning around to drive 2 hours back to Montreal to pick up the cat? Dad. When I was discovered at the U.S. border as an illegal under-the-table waitress residing illegally in New York, and I had 1 week to pack my shit and move back to Canada after getting no responses from my Craigslist post in search of a pickup truck owner going on a drive to Montreal, who was there with a U-Haul and a new table for my roommate that he picked up from IKEA so she wouldn't be without? Dad. When I moved back to New York but refused to cross the border ever again until I figured out how to have a visa and was forlorn about being alone at Christmas, who brought the entire family to an Airbnb in Brooklyn? Dad. Who was nothing but proud of my career path, making queer, feminist, political smut on the radio when everyone else on the team kept the show a secret from their parents? Dad.
I didn't say it was dead. I said
It's taking a new face. New face. New face, not even a new direction. Audio Smut is changing its name. Plain and simple. Clear is modifying its name, not even changing yet. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So people don't get the wrong idea because you're not changing, you're growing.
Yeah.
Audio Smut is growing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I figure out how to get a visa, and I stay in New York for most of my 20s. Therapy is kind of part of New York culture. And suddenly all my friends are begging me to start going. When my first therapist does what all therapists do and asks me about my relationship with you, I tell her that it's great. We had a hard time in my teen years, but the pressing issues are the life-ending dramas of my present moment, thank you very much. By age 30, I've ended up in a career I'd built for myself of analyzing abuses of power as they show up in intimate relationships.
I've been dealing with the impact of actions that you took when I was one of your students, and I'm calling to see if I could get an apology.
A lot of them revolve around men.
Like, really? Is it really that big a deal? Like, honestly?
I mean,
who refuse to admit that they did something wrong.
There's like the honest answer to that question, and then there's the answer to that question, which is like me really wanting to not make you feel bad.
Do you want me to tell you what I'm talking about?
I spend months listening to these men deny or defensively invalidate.
Would it be so bad to just get over that one thing? You know?
The wounds they inflicted.
If I'm responsible for it, am I responsible for whatever I've ever done?
You're responsible for what you did, yeah, and I'm calling to ask for you to say that you're sorry to me.
You know, I knew that this
I listen to them over and over and over again.
I didn't remember you ever saying sorry or like acknowledging my feelings about it or even just saying sorry. Like I just didn't remember you saying sorry.
As we craft their words into stories that we tell.
This is silent evidence.
Like, I need to know that I'm the only one.
No, by the heart. In the last episode, Tennessee came up with...
I ghosted my first therapist, and I'm on my second one. She tells me that I'm a masochist, and that it's related to the amount of pain, chaos, and conflict I believe is normal. The amount of pain, chaos, and conflict that I lovingly accept. I'm 32, and you drive for hours just to help me move my stuff into storage. I'm moving to LA. I'm in a brand new, toxic, and possibly abusive situation, which is what I call a friendship. I learned that one of the trademarks of abusive people is that they flip the dynamic by claiming that they are the one who's being victimized. The person that they're abusing is suddenly apologizing and afraid that somehow they're the one who's causing the conflict. I have no idea which one of us is the abusive one. Her or me. I apologize for all of the ways that I'm at fault. I pride myself on my ability to clock my part in any negative emotion that somebody around me might have. I lovingly accept whatever ways she hurts me. I blame the people who hurt her. Seeing the worst of someone and being able to see the good underneath it. This is how I define love. I've just launched my new company, and the first show we'll put out is about intimate partner violence and queer relationships. Through working on the show, I hear a series of questions from a therapist that outlines what constitutes domestic violence.
Screamed at, belittled, called names, hit with open hand, hit with closed, pushed fist, against a wall, drove erratically.
I hear things in the list that I've told myself are normal since the moment I decided to love you anyway. It's Christmas, and I'm so happy to be home. My life in LA is me trying to tie fraying threads of sanity together into a life I still want to live. I'm not really succeeding. You're worried about me.
I know. I'm happy to support you in the psychologist thing. We are happy to support you in that if you're finding that that's expensive. Okay.
Yeah.
Because mental health is huge, and you have a lot of strain on your mental health right now.
Born to be our friend. Fall on your knees.
I have come to the conclusion that all of the reasons why I'm fucked up and my life is fucked up is because of you, Dad.
When Christ was born, oh night divine, oh night, when night divine.
What do you value most in a friendship?
We're at the dinner table, Mom, Natalie, you, and I.
Unconditional love.
What does that mean? Exactly.
Love me in spite of myself.
You?
Maybe the same.
You have your tall can of Grolsch. Mom, Natalie, and I are almost finished the bottle of wine we always open at dinner. I have a side glass of rye and ginger, the first of several more I'll have before the night is done. We've been drinking all day.
Says I think he did to my.
The conversation turns to a discussion about the Prest family, the one you grew up
Oh,
in.
it was just.
I want to know what happened.
When I say what was, what did we come from? Why are we
I know,
broken?
but the thing is, we can't blame it on them, and they're all dead and gone. So,
But it's just
can't
about
blame it on them.
understanding, though. It's understanding.
No, understanding the.
I want to know what happened in your childhood. I want to know who to blame. We're talking about your dad, my Dido.
What did he do to fuck everyone up so much?
Well, part of me resents that because
That's fair,
I don't
'cause they
feel
know
my
he's your
mom had
dad.
fucked up. What's wrong with me?
You're not perfect, Dad.
I didn't say I was.
okay, and we're all sad that you're not.
I never said I was perfect.
I know, but you don't say that you're not fucked up.
Okay, fine. Fucked up.
Oh, stop.
As am I.
And now you're gonna fight with each other. Like, don't do that.
No, I'm not
Are
fighting.
we having a discussion? Yeah, look at his face.
Well, Dad,
Look at
come
yours.
on.
He's taking it personally now.
Yeah, you're
Can we
right.
talking about it in a general sense, or no? If you can't.
No, I tried pretty hard. I tried pretty hard to make a nice life for you. You know. No.
Sure,
what?
but then
Oh,
you can make
what
a nice
is that?
life.
What's that?
You can make a nice life and also
I'm
be
saying
fucked
you-
up.
I'm
Like
not saying you
those
didn't.
two things can be the same.
I'm not saying you didn't.
Why is it hurting so much when I say
It's not.
that?
It's making me angry.
Well, why is it making you angry?
Because, like we said, everybody's fucked up.
Some other people are not as fucked up as us. I'm going to say that.
Thanks. Wonderful. Exactly.
Like, isn't it better to like acknowledge
Whatever.
the
Fine.
flaws that we have? I don't know.
Well, only if it helps somebody else, I think.
I know it's probably not the best time to have this conversation. I haven't really thought about how I would want to have this conversation. It's just starting to happen.
I'm the first one to admit that I'm not perfect, and that there are things that
Well,
are.
maybe you should try to focus more on the positive instead of.
Well,
dwelling on the
because
dark.
sometimes I don't have a choice. What's wrong with me? The answer isn't nothing.
You're upset,
Why are you upset?
What do you think?
and I'm upset that you're upset.
I feel completely attacked.
He feels attacked. He's getting defensive. It's understandable.
Why is it I ask why you're upset, and that turns into.
Well, you were kind of
An
vicious to
attack.
her just there, and she's just standing up for me. Thank you.
I see this as my moment, my chance to say everything I've been stewing on.
Yeah, because everyone stands up for everyone else in this family except for me.
Right. You're independent.
He's missing the point.
Should close the door.
But it was more than that. It was like the room being dirty was like a springboard. If you had a bad day, if you were in a bad mood, it felt like it was just that you wanted someone that I was your punching bag. That you just took out whatever you wanted to take out. There was no logic. It was just random.
I'm saying it out loud, but what I need is for him to agree. Without his agreement, even if I'm saying it, I will question whether it's true.
You realize you were a teenager at the time, right?
Yeah, but I was still a kid.
No, but I mean that you were a teenager and you were going through a lot of emotional highs and lows. And I'm sorry, but it wasn't me that was random. Had no bearing. Nobody paid any attention to me. Nobody gave a crap about the way that I wanted things to be.
Thanks for refraining from swearing, Dad.
I feel like the conversation could have been so easy. I was the parent, you were the kid. I'm really sorry, but that's not how this is going.
Even if I was a Brad, like, I just don't know how it feels it's fair that we are being judged on equal footing when I'm a 13-year-old or a 14-year-old or a 15-year-old, you know? Like,
to me, the way I feel still now is I just swallowed it, and that's okay, because I was an adult, and what? No?
Mom shoots Dad a look.
You did not swallow it. You went down fighting if you went down.
Okay, I went down fighting, but I lost.
But
I lost.
But even when you say the losing thing, like, how can you say that to a teenager?
I had no control over you, not an iota, and so that was that.
But you wanted to, and that was the problem.
I wanted to save you. You think it was just a power struggle? No. It wasn't about that. Part of it was, admittedly. I'm the dad. I should have, there should be some respect. None.
I pivot and try to remind him that I know he's a good person.
Well, like, you asked me this, Dad. Like, when I was 20, you said, do you think I was abusive to you?
Yeah.
And I said, I never doubted that you loved me. And, like, that's not just, like, something that you said, you know what I mean? Like, it was something that you showed me all the time. Mm-hmm. Like, that you show up.
But you still feel you were abused.
But I think it was abusive, yeah.
I guess it doesn't matter that it was abusive to me, too. Because I'm old.
Because you're the dad.
Right. Because I'm not human. Whatever.
No, that's not true. I'm not. When you ask, what I was thinking was.
But imagine
I didn't do enough to stop it.
But imagine this is a good analogy, Dad. I remember one time when we were fighting, and you had me in, like, my arms like locked behind my back, and I was scratching and biting and kicking, but I still couldn't get out. I wasn't strong
perception
enough.
is everything, eh? Because I remember that time very specifically, and you were attacking me.
Well, that's what I was going to bring up. What I hated, and when it was like that, and that was not the only time that happened.
It almost broke our marriage.
But even making me feel responsible for that is fucked up.
This is a fact.
It wasn't Caitlin that did that.
No, it was us.
So the thing is, why should she feel guilty about it?
Okay, so the father is supposed to just sit down and say,
no,
okay,
this is what I mean about the Rennie shit.
Yeah,
this is
go.
what I mean, because my experience of this was that from age 0 to age 12, you taught me how to be an independent thinker, like you were saying, Mom. I'm like,
you want to bring them up as automatons, and they'll do what you
exactly.
say,
And so you brought me up to be an independent thinker and to be strong, but that was fine until I was 12 when I actually started practicing it. Never, the last thing I ever expected you to say was like, I'm the king and this is my castle.
People say things sometimes, and it's like when they're pushed to the wall. Like, I didn't just say that randomly.
But what was it that was so
Did I say that all the time, or did I say it once?
There were other things you said that were like that. Like, that's my.
The phone that's been sitting on the table, clandestinely recording this conversation, dies. I remember you saying that you felt like you were the victim in the situation. I don't know if that really happened or not. The conversation keeps going until there are tears flowing. Yours. I tell you, it's okay. I stand up and give you a big hug. It's one of the deepest, most honest hugs we've ever had. Then you go to bed, and I go straight down to the pull-out couch in the basement and quietly weep. Natalie comes down and hugs me as I cry. We turn on Dirty Dancing, and we fall asleep.
That was the summer of 1963, when everybody called me baby, and it didn't occur to me to mind. That was before President Kennedy was shot, before the Beatles came, when I couldn't wait to join the Peace Corps, and I thought I'd never find a guy as great as my dad.
I go home to my sad Hollywood apartment. I go home to my tumultuous and misguided attempt at creating a feminist utopia. My company. I'm surrounded by people who believe in a very rigid approach to what someone deserves when they've wounded someone, especially within a power dynamic. I'm surrounded by friends who have decided to cut off their relationships with their abusive parents. Friends who are many years into having already cut off their relationships with their abusive parents. They tell me about the pleasure and the sadness of having Christmases alone.
It's like victim and villain. It's rarely that clear cut. There's more of a gray zone of violence, like that is really hard for someone who's going through it to clock. You know, it's like, ooh, that moment they yelled really loud and I felt scared. But is that an abuse? Is that domestic abuse? Oh, they chased me around the house. Like, is that domestic abuse? Oh, they pushed me a little bit. They twisted my arm a little bit. Is that domestic abuse? And the answer is yes.
I'm surrounded by recordings of therapists and academics explaining why black and white thinking is crucial. It's because if you keep on having compassion and seeing the complexity of a person, you keep forgiving them for the harm they cause. You have to start letting yourself see all the bad.
And the other thing that we do in this show that's very unique is that we create villain characters that are not villains but human beings. If we continue to represent the perpetrators of domestic violence as very clear-cut villains, that prevents us from looking at those characters and being like, oh, I see my parents in that. Oh, I see my lover in that.
Letting myself see all of the bad is how I get myself out of the toxic and possibly abusive situation that I called a friendship. It was painful, letting go of all the beauty I saw in her and working towards seeing only her actions and the impact that they had on me. I start thinking about whether I need to do the same with you. Over the past decade, I've told myself that the abusive behavior doesn't happen anymore. I'm allowed to keep loving you. It's not a betrayal to myself to keep loving you. But then I remember the drive to San Francisco.
So,
we can start talking about this.
Yeah, wait, no,
we're talking about that. Okay,
you're driving.
All I said was I assume you're not going. I don't know when it is.
Natalie is in the back seat, and I curtly shut down a topic of conversation.
I resent that.
Why?
But fiery attack on me.
I'm not fiery attacking.
No, it's what it feels like. Both of you.
It's not an attack.
It felt like it. It hurts. It's already over. Like, how stupid can it be?
It's not about stupid, Dad.
I don't want to talk about it. Okay, fine. I won't say anything.
It's not about you, Dad.
Well, it felt like an attack. When I tried anything I say, it's like, I don't want to talk about it. Fuck off, you know.
It's not you, Dad. It's like you don't understand.
I remember the time a few years ago when we were driving on the 4-lane highway to Montreal. Ice rain has turned the road into a skating rink, and you are flooring it and slamming on the brakes as cars honk, Mom and Natalie scream, and I prepare to die. I've learned that the first step is simply saying that it isn't normal, or at least it shouldn't be. And then the next step is, if I bring it up to you and you tell me that it was my fault and that you were the victim, and I end up holding you as you cry, wondering if you're okay, instead of me being held by you as I cry, having you wonder if I'm okay. If that's not how it goes, the next step is closing the door. It has to be. My first step in that direction is not inviting you to Ireland. I've bought Mom an extravagant retirement present, a trip to her homeland for St. Paddy's Day. It's March 2020. It's been 3 months since the conversation we had where I held you as you cried, wondering if you were okay. Even though I wanted to do an extravagant present, I still demanded that we all fly from New York instead of the places we actually live because that's where the flights are the cheapest. You, Dad, are not coming with us. But you're here to drop off Mom and Natalie 6 hours away from where they live.
Do you want to have a seat?
Not really. Well, obviously.
And we're staying at an Airbnb that you picked. We realize once we arrive that it's a shared space.
It's not your fault, Dad. It's just, I think it's that,
And there's no door.
We're just here to put our heads down, so let's leave.
But then when we put our heads down, will we feel comfortable?
Okay.
Because of the open space, I just feel it.
This is a classic Greg Prest Airbnb selection.
Cheers.
It's the kind of place that he actually gets excited about bringing us to.
Because I'm fine with this place. I kind of think it's cool.
I know that his excitement is really about the price.
Obviously because it's cheap for New York. And whatever.
well, just the door, that's all.
It gave me
You
a
know, I
very
guess, yeah.
strong reaction.
It's not, Dad, it's not, there's no faulting.
I will protect you. Don't touch me.
When you wake up when you're snoring?
Well, you can scream.
First.
I could have accepted the shared houseness of it all. I could have accepted the cardboard on the windows. I could have accepted the pile of boxes and various junk items in the corner, or the fact that the second bed was actually a lumpy couch with a leg missing. I could have accepted all of this if there was a door.
I forget how many 100 or 1,000 positive reviews of people who have stayed here. And so I think that somebody would have complained about having been killed or raped, you know.
Natalie, Mom, and I have already pre-discussed that we want to ask if we can find another place to stay.
What are you doing, John? You're
emailing.
Not talking in this conversation that was very vital that you said you would handle.
The thing is,
We're nervous.
so Natalie's worried about
We're dancing around it.
it being too open. I'm feeling like I'm trapped down here.
You know.
We all sense that there is a great deal of pride on the line. And if we touch that nerve, he may spiral out and make the next hour or hours very unpleasant.
But can I tell you my pitch?
Maybe.
I have a pitch.
Go ahead.
Are you okay to receive a pitch?
I prepare to approach this with the diplomacy I've been practicing my entire life.
I don't want you to feel like we're shitting on.
Go ahead. Pitch away.
He does.
You feel shit on.
He does.
Dad, you feel shit upon.
I can't believe it. Like, what the fuck is wrong? Like, there's no problem.
I just told you.
To make sure that he still feels like the power is in his hands. Like it's because of our own inner problems that we don't like it. And it has nothing to do with his choice or the place itself. And I make sure to throw in some humor.
Okay, fine. Pitch. Go ahead. Pitch away.
Pitch.
Yeah, I'm just looking for the reviews, but.
It could be simple fix.
It doesn't matter how many reviews there are.
It can be simple fix. It could be simple fix.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, I can do this. I'm taking a picture of the supposed second bed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Get a refund.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I was just poking. I'm a Airbnb savant.
Yeah, exactly.
Sharon always says this.
Okay, go ahead. Keep going.
But I just found one that's it's 100. It'll be 150.
With everything.
It has 2 bedrooms. It's 15-minute drive.
And it's
instant book. We can
two closed bedrooms.
It's entire place to the self.
Yeah. Okay. Fine.
Closed apartment.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Do it. I'm pushing it.
No, it's fine.
And
wait, you're pushing to ask for a refund?
Oh, well, I'm gonna get the refund tomorrow. I don't know, or we have to take the pictures and stuff. But this is instant. This is instant book, and there's a time limit.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you gonna feel?
I feel fine if we get a better place for that much. That's fine. I mean,
150.
We definitely will.
Instead of going out, I can just go and get pasta. I would make dinner.
Okay, and thirdly, if we don't get the money back, everybody pitches in for the money wasted. Yeah. But I'm fine.
Okay.
You know, it's not about me.
Like I totally feel personally stupid. Like I should have just checked, just to make sure that. And you sent me the invite, and I appreciated that. And
make sure the shower is completely clean, like no traces. Because if we're asking for the money back, we don't want them to have any legs to stand on.
Well, there was hair already in there.
Okay, go take a picture of it. Okay.
There was hair.
Yeah, there was hair on the side. And it's just not my color of hair.
No, we mentioned that. No, because it's supposed to be clean.
Okay, I need a credit card though. Well, no, I have mine.
It's okay. No, we'll put it.
When I listen to this tape, I can feel the way that my body tenses and relaxes as the tone of his voice shifts.
Do you want to have a seat?
Not really. Well, obviously. Go ahead. I can't believe it. Like, what the fuck is wrong? Like, there's no problem.
Feels like boiling water about to blow steam.
Okay, fine. Pitch. Go ahead. Pitch away.
And even though it's been 20 whole years since the time in our lives when that screaming kettle could turn into physical altercations, screaming matches, and broken furniture, in this moment, in an Airbnb in New York, at age 32, my nervous system is getting ready for all of that. And suddenly, his tone changes.
Get a refund.
Okay.
And I just
When I say the word refund,
50.
We definitely will.
And we'll also part of
and my nervous system starts to relax. I think about the way that my nervous system reacts this way in response to the tonal shifts in anybody's voice all the time. We have a nice night in the new Airbnb that we're in, and then...
What? What's wrong?
Trump to suspend all travel from Europe to U.S. for 30 days.
It's gonna screw you up. That is gonna screw you up. You might be in Ireland for a couple of months.
Natalie and Mom say that they don't think we should go.
Okay, but how do we figure out this airplane thing? Okay.
Me and Dad are trying to get a hold of the airline.
When you called them the machine, you asked the machine, can I get a refund?
They said you can't do that on the phone, you have to do it online.
We might have to go to the airport.
Let's go to, well...
Dad and I are agreed.
The thing that we don't know is...
Whether we get
the credit.
We can't guarantee a refund.
They don't change it. There you go.
We're gonna have to take the flight.
The whole thing is about getting stuck. Caitlin. Getting stuck in Ireland.
This recording is for future Natalie. This is our trip. This is our magic, and we are committing to it. And whatever happens in 7 days from now, we cannot blame our previous selves for making this decision. Right, Mom?
Right.
We are in 100% agreement.
And we're there for 3 days before the American president announces that he's closing the border between the U.S. and Canada.
Who's recording?
Me?
Who do you think?
I'm always recording. I need evidence of our indecisiveness problem.
People are telling stories about $10,000 flights trying to get home.
And we're blaming it all on Dad. Actually, he did say, sorry.
Oh, he apologized for
something like that.
He did?
He goes, I wish I hadn't told you guys to go. But
Dublin
it's really
City
nobody's
Centre.
fault.
No, it's
Like, that's what I'm saying.
No, but I do blame myself.
When you're stranded in a foreign country at the beginning of what will be a 3-year global health crisis, trying to find flights you can afford to get home, who is on hold for a total of 12 hours, finding 3 separate flights within our budget and picking each of us up at the airport when we arrive? Dad.
To the front seat.
And he's like,
oh, you're going to drive us then?
We are all safe and sound, sitting in the living room in Ottawa, debriefing.
And then he said, do you really want to leave a country that has public health? That shifted me.
That's why I'm glad you're here.
I'm glad I'm here too. And also, like I said, I don't want to be in my solitude.
You're here because I feel you need some space.
From that life that I'm living.
Yes.
I agree.
And this is your space. And you were on holiday until next Thursday anyway. So
That's
up until then, you should be
off mode.
I think so too.
True.
And here you're off.
I think so too.
And this is the beginning of a 5-month period of being stranded in Ottawa with my parents, with my dad.
This is our Christmas. We're
living in the basement exactly the way I did when I was a teenager.
Press time.
Yes.
Nuclear press time. Let's enjoy it. Let's revel.
Mm-hmm.
Revel.
of Dad. If you haven't listened to the Sisters series, the one that comes before this one, I recommend that you do so. In this series, you'll hear references to that series that help you place what's happening in this story in time. Dad, a mini-series on the heart, made by me, Caitlin Prest. Natalie Prest, my sister, is the associate producer who worked on this project. Our researching producer is Alexandra Pinel. Our editor is Jennifer Custard-Jaroche. The guitar playing you heard is my dad, Greg Prest. Our editorial advisors are Aaliyah Pabani, Harry Nazin, Armin Bazarian, and Rachel Ricketts. If you want to follow me on Instagram, you can follow me at Caitlin Prest. If you want to donate to The Heart or Mermaid Palace, go to mermaidpalace.org. This season of The Heart is a production of CBC Podcasts in collaboration with Mermaid Palace. That's my company. The Heart is a proud member of Radiotopia.
What do you get when you take award-winning plays and transform them into bingeable audio dramas? Play Me from CBC Podcasts brings you contemporary theater at its best. Listen to hits like Sexual Misconduct of the Middle Classes, Mixtape, Wildfire, Where the Blood Mixes, and Serving Elizabeth, and interviews with acclaimed playwrights.
I'm Laura Mullen. Chris Tolley and I are bringing you a brand new season of Play Me, available now on the CBC Listen app and wherever you get your podcasts. Play Me, transforming drama for the digital age.
Radiotopia.